Hey guys, Andy here, bringing you part 2 of the Nurgle Demon How to Paint playlist. So today I finished up painting this fantastic miniature, which is of course one of the big plague flies ridden by a plague bearer. It was a lot of fun to paint. Obviously I used my normal tips and tricks, so I used a lot of contrast, a bunch of dry brushing, stuff like that. So in this video I'm going to show you how to do that, take it from grey plastic to this standard in about 10-15 minutes worth of work. So stick around to the end and yeah, enjoy. Okay, just like part 1 of this playlist with the Plague Bearer, we sprayed the entire model with Chaos Black and then we did a zenithal of Grey Seer. At the end of this video, I did something quite funky with like mood lighting and stuff to show off the final result. So stick around, check that out and let me know what you think about that in the comments below. So the first thing I'm going to do is use Skeleton Horde contrast, and I'm going to apply this to all of the soft parts of the skin. So all those like fleshy parts that aren't the carapace across his back or the tips of his wings. And we're going to carry through this Skeleton Horde all the way through onto all of the wings as well. This is a fantastic place to begin painting up the Nurgle fly. And when the Skeleton Horde is applied, it should look something like this. Which from one pot of paint to that is already really, really good. I love contrast so much. The next thing we're going to do is move over to Orc Flesh. And what we're going to do with that is, of course, base coat all of the chitinous armor panels that are on this fly. So all of the armor panels that run up along his back, all the tips and ends of his claws, and the armor panels that run up along the spine of all the wings. This is quite a bright, vibrant green, and we will be doing some funky stuff later on, mottling up that color and then knocking it back down to a green. It's going to look really cool. And with the green done, it is like this. Already, as you can see, all the colors are blocked out in this model. It's quite a simple model to paint, but it's well worth the time. So Seraphim Sepia is then used as an all-over coat on the fly. Armor panels and the Skeleton Horde fleshy bits are all going to get a full coat of Seraphim Sepia. Making sure that it doesn't pool on the ends of claws or the tips of wings or anything like that. Just be careful, that can happen. I had to go back and pull a few pooling parts away from where they were to stop that from happening. I'm also going to take the opportunity while the shade is drying to base the miniature. So as you can see, the shade is fully applied here. Dripping wet, it's going to take a little while for that to dry. So I take that opportunity to get the base of the model done. Saves on time later on and less risk of hitting the model when I'm basing later on. So here's the shade dried and the base done. Look and swish. Now it's time to pull those pallid colors a little bit brighter. And the first thing we're going to do is use Ogryn Camo for that. And we are going to dry brush all of the bits that were Skeleton Horde before. So all of the fleshy parts of the model. This can be kind of a medium to light dry brush. You want to get decent coverage, mostly around the tips and the edges of the model. As you can see the difference that makes with one pass. And you're going to continue this around the entire body, all of the underside. Now as the model gets closer to the ground, you know, the dry brush is so heavy, you can leave that as shadow. And in behind arms and stuff. Just for the bits that are pointing upwards, you want to go seriously heavy on. Get a good build of color on. And when the dry brush is on, it should look something like this. It's brought out all of that really cool detail across that miniature, especially the wings. So the next thing we're going to do is go to Straken Green. Now basically the shell is a flat piece and we don't want it to look flat. So the next thing we're going to do is feather Straken Green in a downward motion across the armor panels. So starting about halfway up the armor panel and just streaking the paint down toward the edge. We're going to do this on each individual like chitinous panel across the armor. We're not going to leave it like this. This color is far too close to the skin of the fly to leave it like this. But when we apply, we're going to apply another contrast over this soon. And we just want all those varying tones going the whole way through. Okay, that is all of the carapace mottled up with the Straken Green. As you can see, it looks cool, but the whole model is looking a bit beigey now, but that's okay. We are now going to go over to a dry brush of Screaming Skull. This one is going to go all over the entire miniature. We want to catch the edges of those chitinous plates so that it basically acts as a highlight for the contrast we're going to put over it later. And on all of the skin, it's going to be the final highlight for that. So a light dry brush just to catch all of those boils and sores and stuff like that across the claws and any and all the fleshy parts. And this is what I meant by the entire model basically going over to the beige side of the color. Now it's time to make that armor panels really pop. So we're going to go for Warp Lightning Green Contrast, which is a nice bright vibrant green. And it's going to show up all of those feathering and all of those dry brushes that we did over the carapace is going to show through. So it's not just going to be this clean flat green. It's going to look super sweet. This is obviously going to give great coverage over the khaki color underneath. So one nice coat of it will do the job. Such a satisfying stage to really break up the entire model from here. And with all the green done, this is what we look like. So for me, the carapace and all the fleshy bits are now done. It's now time to move over some of the gnarlier details that exist on Nurgle models. So we're going to work on all of those sores and pockmarks on his skin. So for this, we're going to start with a Volupus Pink contrast, and we're just going to fill in all of those sores with that to give the next color kind of like a base coat. So anywhere where there's a sore, all the little holes in the wings, just give that a little ring. In his mouth, anything like that. Any basically distressed parts of the skin. You can do it on all the boils if you want to. You can take this as far as you want to. It's really just adding that vibrant color to the scheme. Okay, now it's time to base coat the eyes. So for this, I'm going to use Averland Sunset. Nice yellow color. Yellow goes well with green and beige, especially the Averland Sunset tone, which is quite a muted one. And we're just going to base coat those eyes really carefully, not hitting that skin. They're just little oval shapes, 3 of them across his face. And obviously this is standing out like a sore thumb, the bright yellow. So we will be knocking that back with a shade in a few seconds. And the shade that I like to knock this back with is Druchi Violet, playing on that distressed sore skin, keeping that tone going through it. So a nice healthy dab of the color, and then apply it around the eyes, making sure it rings them nicely. Like I said, a bit of overspill on the skin never hurt anyone. Just makes them look like sore eyes, which you can imagine Nurgle flies would probably be. Now it's time to return to the Volupus Pink parts of the miniature. And we're going to use Blood for the Blood Gall technical paint to fill in the very center of all of those with some nice gory blood. This is one of the last steps on the model, but it really stands out. Really helps you get the sense of what this army is. This necrotic skin, the sores all over it. Can take grievous wounds and not really get too damaged or too bothered about it. And when that's applied, we basically have a finished fly. So that is what the Nurgle fly looks like fully painted. If you are wondering about the rider for this fly, I did indeed complete the rider off camera, and I will show you what he looks like on top. There he is. I used the exact same scheme for painting the Plague Bearer in video 1 of this series. There's a link up top now. So if you want to see how I painted the rider, click that link and follow those steps, and you will get him looking like this. I am super pleased with how this model turned out. I would actually like quite a large swarm of these guys, maybe 6 of them in an army. And I hope you guys found this video helpful, entertaining. If you did, think about supporting me, supporting the channel, and subscribing. Drop the video a like, and if you have any questions about anything you've seen in these videos, please don't hesitate to drop a comment below, and I will get back to each and every one of you. I will see you guys in the next video.